folks. This is Deb Delapiana and Dave Denton, also known as Indie Outsider. We're here to do a little promo for a change, but it's not a promo for money. It's a promo about what we're doing and why we're doing it. So anyone who's been following the Sunday night stream videos knows we've been talking about journalism, good and bad. And we're now trying to focus in on what real journalism should look like. What are the basic principles of journalism? What defines a real investigative journalist? And what standard levels must be met to be considered as such? So we want to say that we're tying this in also, not only to the Sunday night streams, but to two new groups on Facebook. One which is called Real Journalism. Dave will show you the pages when he gets on. And the other is also called Real Journalism with REEL in parentheses in the middle, where we hope to screen documentaries and maybe even try to do some watch parties. So Dave will show you those two pages. I'm going to turn it on over to him now because we start in earnest talking about real journalists next week.
So let me see here. Is this where it is? No, I'm just going to share. See where I am. Okay. So this is the Real Journalism page. And Deb has already started. She's going to put the links to our videos here, the ones that are pertinent to the journalism stuff. The purpose of journalism, principles of journalism from the American Press Association, things like that. Then we have where we're going to put watch party announcements and things of that nature. We're going to try to do some watch parties just to show. And the first one we're going to try to do is the Brink. And I'm not really even focusing on the subject of the documentary. I like to focus on the people behind the scenes filming Steve Bannon and watching all this unfold. There was one particular journalist who actually got up and discussed and walked out because he knew exactly what was going on. So there's that. My last very quick source is the story that I was involved with. A reporter, her name was Miriam Jamil of ProPublica. I actually contacted her in March of last year because this was the beginning of COVID-19 in my postal plant, and everyone was very concerned, worried that they didn't know how many cases they had. We had this policy saying that if you're not comfortable working in the mail plant at the moment, that you could take a day off. Well, how can we determine whether or not we're comfortable if we don't know? And Miriam Jamil, this story actually affected change. Our managers now post when a new case comes up. So that happens from time to time. And what I will say about this particular story is that I'm not going to show my quote. That's not what this is about. But this short quote from someone who was willing to put his name to it, she spent hours, crafting exactly, how far I could go and what I can say and all of that, knowing what my position was, knowing that I was a union rep, knowing that I might get some heat for saying anything on the record. She spent hours talking to me. And although I was very thankful for her, that was her job. And that's what good journalists do. This is a run-of-the-mill story. Think of the the just days of research some of these stories, the high profile stories, take to research, as opposed to people on YouTube who just come out and say things.
Right. There are a lot of pretenders.
Yeah.
To the journalism thrown out there. Journalism isn't, building your numbers, building your brand. There's a lot of hard work that goes into that. And it's about revealing the truth. And it's about revealing a truth that you can put some kind of evidence to. Because unless you are doing that, you're not revealing the truth. There's a
Right.
difference between supposition and fact and truth. And you may not always get it right every time, but you need to make the effort every time. And it's not just repeating a meme or a statement you've seen from somebody else on social media. Social media is home of many parasites, and it
Right.
is also home of much bullshit. Everybody's a graduate of the Facebook medical school now that COVID-19 is out there.
Right.
And it's very disheartening to listen to some of these morons, and even more disheartening are the people who follow them unquestioningly. So what you'll also see in that first group, the real journalism group, is investigative journalism from great sources. The Miami Herald and the way they broke the Epstein story, and the Spotlight team and the way they broke the pedophile priest story in the city of Boston, which actually led to the entire world being exposed eventually. And there's a lot of stuff that ProPublica has done. There's the Center for Media and Democracy. They're a great organization. We're going to put all these organizations out there and up there for people to access. We are not talking about the Joe Rogan Experience. We are not talking about, Candace Owens' Pay Me and I'll Lie to You channel. That's not
Right.
journalism. That does not qualify.
We're not talking about Russell Brand.
No,
we're not talking any of those guys. So one thing I will say too is that people always tell me, "Oh, Dave, you have a lot of tabs up when I'm doing these shows." There's a reason for that. I want to give as much shine to these people who do very hard work. I want to give as much shine as I possibly can. One thing I ask, once again, you read these people. People need to start reading again. It is possible, especially on high-profile cases like the Theranos case, the Wall Street Journal reporter. Yes, there are interviews out there, short interviews. You can watch that, but I also urge you to read his material. He does have a book out there, Bad Blood, but he does have a lot of articles out there through
the book came from his investigative research.
Yes.
Brian Deere, I urge you, I will put the link in tonight. Brian Deere, the man who exposed Andrew Wakefield. He's a legitimate British investigative journalist. He has a book out there also about Andrew Wakefield. These people literally, exposed fraudulent science and have documentation to prove it. And this is the stuff you need to be paying attention to. Andrew Wakefield didn't get stripped of his medical license because he's a truther and they wanted to hide the real thing from you. He lost his medical license because he's a fucking hack. All right? That's why he lost his medical license. He fabricated just about every aspect of that MMR study, all the way down to taking blood from 5-year-olds at his son's birthday party.
Right. And by the way, we are not claiming to be journalists. We are fellow readers just like you, but we have gone through some of this material. We have gone through the experiences that some other people have gone through, questioning whether or not to trust Andrew Wakefield, and maybe even for a second listening to him and then turning back around and saying, whoa, wait a minute. So we're providing you with the information ahead of time.
Yep. So we need you to look.
Yep.
And we're going to do on Sunday, we'll be on at 6 o'clock doing our thing. And I think the first subject is it Judd?
Yeah, we can do Judd, and I
Popular
will.
information?
And what I want to do too is I want to do a focus on either one individual or maybe a group, like when you're talking about the the Center for Media
and Democracy.
Media and Democracy, and possibly
ProPublica.
Yeah. What I will say too is that I just went on ProPublica, and there are people, there are positions in the paper that you wouldn't think about. Graphics directors and things and I want to give a little bit of credit to those individuals as well. People who push, not necessarily the editors, but people who push to get more information. So how can we get more information? What can we do? It's tough just knowing from the other side, how much pushback I gave to the reporter I was speaking to. Look, I can't give you that. I can't give you that person's number. They're not going to talk to you anyway. I can't tell you what I don't have. So I get it. I get how tough their job is.
The other thing is too, in some of these investigative pieces, their use of infographics is great.
Right.
That's where all these people work together to put this kind of stuff together.
Well, when you're talking about the maps of America and the number of cases in corona cases, number of deaths of corona cases, or the number of police shootings and police deaths, they do that all the time, and those graphics, they don't come out of thin air.
Right.
And you have to worry about, are the colors distinctive enough? Will they understand? Blah blah blah.
Yep.
So there's a lot of work that goes into print journalism, and we're going to focus on print journalism.
Right. We're talking about the written word, either online or in print, actual newspapers. Because some news sources are only online now. Some news sources were small and had to give up their publishing. But we're not talking about YouTubers or bit shooters or podcasters or whatever. We're not.
By the way, no Substack, no Medium, unless those people have sources. Judd, he has sources.
Right.
So if you have sources that you can provide, and you're a journalist on, that just happens to do Substack on the side,
because you're a freelancer, you might be a freelancer.
You're an independent guy,
right?
That I don't have a problem with that. But if you're just a blogger, I'm not going to do a piece on you.
And please, I write a blog also. If you're going to use any material that I've written, use the links in my blog. Don't use my blog as the link. Use the links I've used. Those are links that have been created by investigative journalists. Rather than making people go through layers to get the actual facts, don't use me, my title, my click on the links in my thing and provide people with the real links. That's what we need to start thinking about.
Yep.
So, all right, that's it, guys. So we start next Sunday, and we hope we'll see you all there.
Thanks, guys. Read.
It's good for your brain. Trust me.